as well, actually.
Of course, may their souls continue resting in eternal peace. And of course, I hope you do have a great year, I hope it won't be as dark as, as this one has proven to be so far. But thank you so much, Raymond Muthe, for that. Of course, always a pleasure having you here and talking to us about the trends. And of course, we'll see you next Tuesday as always. But right now, I want us to cross over to our sister station, that is Spice FM. And they will be having a conversation on International Day for Countering Hate Speech. Danvers Macquarie is their guest, who is a commissioner at NCIC. So let's cross over.
An election or running up to an election, or when everybody just really fancies, they can stand up somewhere and say whatever they like. But like you said, reason has been given, and many would ask then, have we actually seen that this particular act or this particular thing that somebody has said, which would be characterized as hate speech, if it does not yield any kind of action that would be thought to be criminal, right? Can you then go for that person? Can somebody say something and then give the reason and say, well, look, I said it, but nothing happened. So why would you be coming for me?
Thanks, Steve. Let me give a real example, and I'll put it in context so it doesn't look like I'm targeting an individual, because it's a real story. It's in the public domain, so I can quote it. Okay. So the big scheme of things during our election period last year, compared to other times in our country, we had the least amount of, I would say, incitement coming from politicians directly themselves. Okay, we would have close to 100 rallies a day, and we were monitoring about 18 radio stations and TV stations across the country, really the main ones. We were monitoring live as it was happening, so it was quite a difficult thing to do, but we did it. So I'm putting this perspective before I give you this example. So we have 100 rallies approximately a day from Turkana to Lamu, okay, across the country. And for a 2-year period of campaigning, there was minimal incitement by actual politicians. Now, what they did was they had proxies. They gave the surrogates and bloggers to say all these crazy things, but they did not say it. Now, at one time, that's why I'm giving you this story. Yeah. One Honorable Mythical Inturi said a word or a phrase in Eldoret, and that everybody had took issue to, given the context of our country, which was the word Madoa. Okay, and we, of course, took action. He was arrested. He was the only politician arrested at that period of time, and when we arrested and started processing him, actually the DC actually took action quicker than we wanted, because sometimes you need, so there's a legal process before you arrest somebody. Just these days, this is because you just arrest people any day you want, hold them how long you want. We have constitutional protections to your rights, so there's a process which they kind of skip, so there's no time. Anyway, long story short, when he was arrested and prosecuted, taken to court, long story short, his case actually was dismissed. Okay.
On what grounds?
And that's important. Actually, his case was dismissed by the courts because of the issue of evidence and the preponderance of evidence, and just proving what he said actually meant harm or them. Now we use, of course, the same thing in history, especially in where he was in Western Gishila. It had a very negative history connotation as our country. Okay. Now, Here is the reality. Now, on the flip side, because we know the challenge we have on our law, we were very keen on the preventive aspect, engaging them directly, and that's why there was really minimum incitement by them, and we had the potential now of what we did actually. We went to the Chief Justice and had very frank discussions with her. We said, here's the problem we have with the politicians. They know for a fact that if you arrest him today, and this is reality, by the time you prosecute and a case is had in Taming in Kenya, the average time is 5 years. So they know for a fact, if I incite today and it's election period, by the time my case is determined, it's 5 years from now, it's the next election, and you have actually, we are like goldfish, we forget within 2 seconds. So forget about 5 years, you forgot exactly what this guy said. And we've moved on. So we realize, it doesn't work. So let's remove that aspect of delayed justice. And we established 6 courts, specifically on issue of hate speech and election violence. Only 6 across the country: Mombasa, Nairobi, Kisumu, Eldoret, Nakuru, and Kakamega. And we made it very. We say that.
So the northeastern part of Kenya doesn't have one such court.
No, it was not represented.
At that time.
We were targeting most perpetrators in the region where they could. But it's a high court. So if you do something in Garissa, you can be presented anywhere in the country by law. Yeah, so we can arrest you in Garissa and take you to Kisumu because the high court has jurisdiction across the country. But anyway, what it did was we had agreed with the Chief Justice that you have we can hear and determine a case within weeks. And we made it very clear to the politicians, because we engaged both campaigns, that and we were on TV, on media, and everywhere saying, listen, now we've changed the playing field. Now, if you do this, if you incite, if you say something, if you caught with hate speech, you have actually a few days, and you'll be arrested and prosecuted within a few, maybe weeks, and your case is hard and determined. And then guess what? It had the preventive aspect, because now they knew for a fact. We don't have 5 years. You have 2 months at the most, and you're actually going to be prosecuted. And actually did help, to answer your question.
Okay.
It's interesting about people who understand the law and then choose the understanding of the law to help them subvert it. It's actually very interesting, because that in many ways is a very clear definition of impunity.
Very true.
It means this is not a person who actually cares about the law. The law is a tool, and they know how to manipulate it. But then again comes the issue of the rights that our Constitution gives individuals. Do you find sometimes that because of these rights, the processes that we need to take in order to set right things which have actually gone wrong or seem to be going wrong, that sometimes they act as a hindrance towards, or people bringing in the issue of the rights acts as a hindrance towards bringing certain people to justice?
To be very frank with you, I'm going to answer this from a legal perspective, and a human rights perspective too. Here's the reality. No. You see, there is our Constitution. And given the history of our country, CT, we needed that Constitution because we know the abuse of power that we witnessed. Secondly, I don't think we've evolved as a country to an extent, but the human nature has not evolved.
Why?
And progressive. So the state still has the potential to abuse power, to oppress, suppress, to persecute you if they want to. So there have to be certain mechanisms and measures to prevent state abuse. Remember, if you're arrested today, to answer your question, it is the state that will arrest you.
Yes.
Okay? Different arms of government, but they're all still
government.
State organs. Yeah. Okay? It's the police, the public prosecutor who will prosecute you, and it's the judge who will hear your case, who's a state officer. I mean, who do you have to protect against all these state potential excesses? Because they can conspire. Now, they're supposed to be independent of each other, but we've seen many times that they can actually conspire against you. And you as an individual, what protects you? Who protects you? It's a constitution. And that is why we enacted it. So I will not say it is to be the country is a problem. No. Actually, we've not even implemented institutions. What we've had is if you talk to experts, especially I've sat with experts who drafted the constitutions, they are saddened that we've not even implemented or enacted 3/4 of the constitutions, because we have certain bills which should have come into play now, so that now there is a balance, so to speak. So we have all these excesses in terms of what we see as rights, but we never had, like, for example, our bill actually has never there are times that our bill has been questioned whether it's constitutional or not. Yeah. So we've never seen. We still have a cake law today. If you go to protest, they still the Public Order Act, which is unconstitutional, by the way. Yeah. This thing was done during the colonial times. Yeah, and the police still use it to suppress and oppress people. It is wrong. So for me, I would say we have laws should be enacted, specific laws, so that now there is actual impediment, the deterrence to those who have impunity. Because why they have impunity is because they know for a fact there's a lacuna, so to speak. There's gaps between what the Constitution says and the bills that actually ought to help now enforce certain laws. So the enforcement part is what is lacking. We just need more laws to make sure that is enforced and implemented.
Why do you think there is non-implementation of some of these factors are so clearly important? Why do you think? I mean, it could be that they are ignored, or it could be that there is deliberate inaction because we know what it means if they were. Why do you think that these have not been? Because this is the second conversation we've had this morning,
yes,
where we are complaining about laws within the Constitution that have not been implemented. So there's a problem. Why is it not happening?
To be very honest with you, and at least it's the biggest conversation in the country, as you say, unfortunately, let me actually be more precise, lawmakers, MPs have one of the key issues they ought to do is legislation. An elected member of parliament is legislation. So you want to tell me, as an elected member of parliament, to enact laws that will restrict me, that will affect me negatively, so to speak. It will benefit millions of Kenyans, but on the other flip side, it affects me negatively. Absolutely no, because we are selfish, we are myopic, we are self-centered, we are narcissistic. But absolutely no way I am going to implement these laws because they will adversely affect me, although they will benefit the country. So it is me first, not the country first. So to put it point blankly, we have leaders who put self-interest first instead of the country first. Pure and simple.
You know, we had one Mr. Charles Nyachai sitting on the seat you're sitting on, and we wanted him to talk to us about the commission that he headed when devolution became a reality.
Yep.
And one of the questions we asked him was, do you think those years were enough? And he said, yes, he thought they were enough.
Yep.
I think I disagree with him. Because that was the commission that would have ensured that these gaps we're talking about are actually put in place.
Very true.
Because when we left all these matters to the vagaries that Parliament is, well, here we are, aren't we?
Yes. Very true. I agree with you. I was with him actually in Naivasha in a conference with all independent commissions and offices. And they all had the same problem. And he was a panelist. And he had time to speak, but there was a challenge, exactly what you said. And there was a rush to do this thing. The Constitution is, for lack of a better word, I just want to put it in perspective.
Was it really a rush? Because with hindsight now, this was deliberate.
Yes, true. It was.
Because it's like someone saw. To understand it, you only need to look at some certain aspects of our commission that really empowered the citizenry and sought to give the citizenry the power that the Constitution actually sought to give them, which got watered down really, 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 really quickly. Like, for instance, just our ability to recall members of parliament. Now, imagine the very people whom we can recall are given the power to determine whether that law can... now you tell me, how's that going to work out?
It won't. Of course it won't. That's exactly why I said. So I think it's but here's a caveat to it. And I don't think maybe Kenyans learn very quickly. At the end of the day, there's a bottom line in the sense of a democracy, okay? And we the people actually determine the leaders that go to parliament. That's a reality too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay? So as much as we have a deficit of leadership, but in a democracy like we have in our country, they're reflective of who we are as a people, Kenyans too.
But Dr.
Yes.
This deficit, we speak of it loudly. We were speaking of it in the previous hour.
Yeah.
But is it that we make bad choices, or is that the accountability measures or the accountability tools that we have are inadequate? Because what is it that makes a good leader? Is it someone who does not need supervision and oversight? Everybody needs supervision and oversight.
True.
Or is it our unwillingness? Because I don't think we're unwilling to oversight. But so the question is, what stops us? Because in the absence of that, that's when leaders get to now entrench this impunity we're speaking of. They just do exactly what they think they want to do or feel like they should do.
I have a question now to that, and we can think about it. And you help me now on this. You help me. Can good people, generally speaking, elect bad leaders, and can bad people elect good leaders?
The answer to both questions is yes, but put a caveat to it. Nothing like good leaders and nothing like bad people or bad leaders. No. Many people who get elected because there's a certain track record they have. If not, their party has traction and can get them elected. But there are people, and they're not few, who are elected because what they say they want to do, people have seen them do. Then they get sworn in. And then this monumental change takes place, and you start wondering, what happened to these people? It's a question we keep asking, okay? But the answer is not really complicated. In the absence of daily oversight from the people who actually put you in office, it is very, very easy to take your own path and do whatever you wish, and you think 5 years is a very
long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the very politicians we speak of has ensured that 5 years isn't such a long time, because if they start campaigning now. There's something they've understood, okay? Now, they seem to understand what they want a lot clearer than what we do. So, to answer your question, there is nothing like good citizens or bad leaders, because these leaders come from the same communities.
Yep.
Yes, and within those same communities, we have an abundance of people we call good and who mean well. And among the people they usually elect are people who they think are actually good people. Yes?
So then maybe, are we not looking at an issue then whereby what we hold sacred or what we hold sacrosanct then comes into question? Because if I hold systemic values in terms of no matter what, this thing that I'm supposed to do will be done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't matter. Come rain, come sunshine. I will do what I'm supposed to do. I will not do what I'm not supposed to do. If we did, then it wouldn't matter what position you find yourself in. You will actually get it done. That if you do hold certain values up here on the integrity rung, that you will do your job. And so I think it is on that backdrop that other jurisdictions were able to look at them in awe and say, how is it that volunteers are the ones who run an election, for example? It doesn't have to be a body, an electoral body. It's volunteers who understand that, well, you know what, guys, this is what we hold up here. And so we'll do it because that is what is expected of us. Could it be a value issue? Because that would answer why somebody who you, and I hate that word, good, somebody who you see is good, finds themselves in a position of leadership and then somehow they become bad. So were they bad all along, or did the situation change?
Look at it this way. As they say in Kenya, kwa reality, kwa ground vitu ni
Different.
Look at it this way, and let's be very practical. And just listen to me for a minute. Go outside your studio right now and just stand outside your gate and just observe. Observe how traffic moves. Observe the border guy. Go down the road here at this junction, GM. Just observe the vendors, observe the pedestrians, observe human beings. There is a crossing over there, but you will see people walking on the highway. Right? You will see vendors throwing trash right across the street. You will buy a piece of corn or sugarcane and spew everything down there. You see bodas going the opposite way. You see motorists reversing with an order to reverse. You see all manner of things across the board. That's why I said everybody, whether it's the rich, the poor, the middle class, it doesn't really matter. Just observe generally. Just observe human behavior. Just be quiet. And this is something peculiar we've seen in this nation. I believe, and this will get in trouble, but I'm going to be really truthful here. I'm going to get in trouble.
Okay.
Get in trouble by all means, please.
We as a nation, to your point, in terms of values, our psyche as a nation, to what you used City, the impunity level, I don't think we are there to the rule of law. I think intrinsic nature is that of lawlessness and impunity and chaos. And we love it so. So now, I'm speaking. So now, you bring a leader, and here I am. If I run an office and say I will bring order and I will make sure there's no this and that they will follow the rule of law, I promise you I will not get elected. Let me put it this way.
Is it because people don't want law and order, or is it because they don't believe you?
No. You know why? Let me tell you why. And allow me to cite the scripture here. This is the verse in Judges. It says, in those days, in Judges, there was no kings, and everybody did what was right in their own eyes.
Yeah.
You see, everybody did what was right in their own eyes. So if it is right for me to steal from you, I'll steal from you because it's right for me. I don't care. I need it.
Yeah.
If I want to run you over CT because you're on my way and I'm running late, get over my. I'll run you over because it is right for me to do that.